Hello, everyone. This is Lavon McMillan, founder and CEO of Advocate for Me, LLC in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Tonight, I have a special guest on. We met at a training. We both work for the same agency, and we met at a training, and we were just talking about what we were doing for families in the neighborhood, and we just like hit it off, and we just was sharing each other's information and wanted to be able to be a part of each other's projects. So tonight I want to introduce to everyone Denise Bennet. Hello, Denise.
Hi everyone. Hi Lavon.
How are you this?
I'm doing great. It's such a pleasure to be with you this evening, and I'm looking forward to talking with all your listeners.
Awesome, awesome. So I know that we both work in the early intervention field. Can you share with our listeners what is early intervention?
Yes. So early intervention is a service that's provided for families who have children from birth to 3 years old that are experiencing some sort of developmental or physical delay. And what we usually do is that, we go into the home and we provide the families with strategies on how to help their child meet their goals. But as I work in early intervention, I'm actually a social worker. So it's similar to like, helping the child reach their goal. But what I kind of focus on with the family is that we work in partnership to help to reduce whatever barriers that may exist for the family that kind of prevents them from helping their children or their family as a unit to reach their goals, as far as it could be economical or the child's IFSP goals. So we just work together to try to reduce those barriers.
Okay, awesome. And you mentioned IFSP. Can you tell the listeners what an IFSP is?
Yeah, so when a child comes into our program, they're evaluated by a team, and the team of professionals, they basically establish what's called an individual family service plan. And this particular plan really just outlines, what the family would like for their child to achieve. It could be things around their developmental delays. So that means if a child is not communicating on a certain level for their age, they will make a plan and make some outcomes for how we're going to help the child to reach that particular goal of speaking more. So this is a plan that's developed by the team, and so that's what every child that comes into the early intervention system, kind of starts with, so we can have a guide.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for explaining that. So I know you and I, like I said, we both work in early intervention. You're the social worker, I'm the special instructor, and you work more in like the family dynamic. What would you say is something that would be like the top issue with the family that you would work with on your case?
Yeah, so basically, I do work in Philadelphia County, and there is a high prevalence often with families living in poverty. So a lot of times, some of the basic needs are just not they're not able to meet them, because of all the extreme financial challenges they're faced with. Oftentimes, our families, because they have children with developmental delays, they're unable to work outside the home because they must be present and available for their child, therapy sessions as well as outpatient medical appointments and things like that. So that really does infringe upon the financial um, stability of families. And so oftentimes, when I am asked to come and help support the family, a lot of the things that I hear from the families that's real common are really things around basic needs. They need support with like stabilized housing. They'll need support around just food, clothing, some things that we often take for granted. These are really just serious things that families, we can't, they can't really move ahead if these things aren't met. So those are primarily some of the things that I've noticed that we're working mostly on.
Awesome. I know my first job coming out of college was a social worker. I worked, it used to be called SCO back in the day.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
probably something, but it was servicing children in their own home. And that was my piece. I was like the eyes and the ears for the Department of Human Services, for a agency that I worked with, named Casey, with Gary Hall. And that job opened up my eyes. Like I've always been in like education and psychology, family psychology, but being a native from Philadelphia and then experiencing exactly what families have been going through. And my family, I wouldn't say they was like rich, but I think my grandma and my mom kept it to the point where when I was younger, I didn't know that we was maybe lacking some basic needs.
Right.
And they made it to the point where me and my brothers, we had what we needed. So whether if we didn't know that we didn't have it, they made sure that we had it. So I know, being a social worker, just working with those families, I was the type of person that I just wanted to give and give and give. And I didn't have any kids then. So I was young and I was like, what you need? Like, I know one family, I went and shopped for them, went to the supermarket and bought them a whole bunch of food. Another family, I found clothes for them. Another family, I think they needed like a TV, so I purchased the TV for them. Like with me not having any kids and any responsibilities, I was just like, what you need? And then so I did that for 2 years, and then I found myself like I had one family that I helped out, and then in their situation, they had it was domestic violence. So the one spouse didn't want me in the house, and the other one did want me in the house to help them with the resources and to advocate for them. But it came down to the point where they just stopped letting me in. And it wasn't their particular family wasn't court ordered, so I didn't have to force the issue. So we just winded up closing. But I think for me that like hurt my heart. Like personally, I was just like so hurt because I wanted to make sure that this family had their basic needs. So I
Right.
share all that to say, is there any time that you feel like that you want to give and give and give, and then at the tail end, you feel like you did all you could do, but maybe they didn't want to receive it? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, that was one of the
Mhm.
things that I faced. So, yes. And I know,
Yes.
sometimes family want, they want this, they don't. So, but you can share,
Yeah.
you
So
don't have to share any names or anything, but you can share just like your experience with that.
sure. So it really is a fine, like a balance. You got to have balance, and you have to make sure that what you're doing is really trying to empower them. Like so. For me, what I've noticed is that what I try to do when I first started, doing social work was trying to connect them with existing programs. So I would go to different places in the city and get all these different names and resources of places. But what happened was a lot of the programming, they would like not open at one point, but then at another point they closed down. So the resources weren't really consistent. And so what I started noticing was that I gotta, try to think outside the box. Like, what can I do to really try to help the families? That's really good resources, not, something that's, not open no more,
Hmm.
So I started trying to reach out to organizations and try to figure out how to partner with them one on one and see how I can establish a relationship with them in hopes that I could begin to help them establish their relationship with the family. So I was trying to be the middle person to get it started as a professional face at first, but of finding out a way to weed my way out of it so that they can actually work directly with the families. And I have to say that I wasn't always successful doing that, because a lot of times programs want to just have the social worker that they work with. They don't really want to work sometimes directly with the parent. But there have been a few that have taken chances and allowed themselves to be open more with working directly with the families. And I just feel like, that's really what we want to see, is more of, us kind of supporting but kind of moving out the way. And so in that case, I guess I haven't really had an experience where I was giving personally. I was always knew that I couldn't sustain that. So I needed to really try to figure out, how do I find concrete partnerships that could really work directly with the families and not really need me. Because what happened is, once I leave after the tree, then the families were like, what do we do now?
Hmm.
And so that's what I was trying to minimize.
Yeah, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense because that's what you want them to do, for them to be able to work independently on their own and seek out those resources and that information. So you're more like teaching them how to become independent instead of dependent. All right. So Denise, so I know that you do a parent workshop as well. Can you tell me more about the parent workshop and what um, drove you to start the parent workshop in Philadelphia?
Yeah, so like I was previously saying about how sometimes what happened is, when the children turn 3 years old, we actually exit out the family's home and for our services, and the children transition to another program if needed. But what started happening was, as I was sharing, that while I was trying to find programs that would work directly with the parents, that was often not possible, because a lot of the organizations would be a little resistant with being that frontline resource for families. So maybe like around 6 months or 9 months after the child would leave our program, a few parents would call me up and be like, "Hi, Mr. Niche, I know you're not my social worker anymore, but is there any way, we can still, reconnect and talk? And I still have some different, questions and concerns about my child development." And so I noticed that started happening a little bit often as time would go on, that some of the early intervention families would reach back out to me. So I said, you know what? I'm thinking that, they really need a place to turn. And I started thinking about, really about the whole model of empowerment. And I was like, you know what? How about, because they're talking about needing resources, the parents are the ones who have so much resource or so much information that they can really do and share with each other. If there was a way that we could all kind of come together, then we could, learn new things, as far as, based on what the family's needs were, if it be legal help, housing support, financial support, educational and developmental knowledge. We can get a professional to come and speak to all of us, but then we can also make sure that they can empower each other with what they know, because they know so much.
Hmm.
So basically, that's how we got started. It was just that I went to the local library and I asked them whether they not we can have their space, and they had a beautiful room, and they said yes, you can have the space, and it was free because it was public space. And we just started to meet there every Tuesday, for 2 hours, and it was just started growing. We started with like maybe 9 families, and then maybe within 6 months it kind of went to like 25 and then 30. So it just basically what I feel like the families just felt like they came out because they were a part of it. They chose the workshops. I was just a facilitator of the group, and I always try to let them know that this is your group, and You tell me what you want. So families would say, I would like to have a workshop on financial planning. I would like to have a workshop on legal support, when it comes to things like Social Security and disability benefits. And so I would just do the research and bring the presenters in, and the families would, learn and ask questions, and then they would just stand up and share their own resources that they knew about. So that's how the group got started.
Awesome, awesome. And I've been to a couple of the workshops, basically as a presenter and speaker, and
Yes.
you
Yes.
you do an awesome job. Like just because it's all different age ranges. Their children are all different age ranges, but just being able to have that resource and have that opportunity to share with other parents is amazing. I know for my company, for my business, Advocate for Me, that was one of the reasons why I started it, because of my son being born at 28 weeks premature. And like I said, I was a social worker, I was in education, but with his diagnosis and everything that he was going through, I felt like I was alone. So I love the fact that you're bringing parents of all ages together, providing them with resources, providing them with, the basic needs that they will need, and just being there for them. And you could tell, like in the room, like everybody's like family. Being
Right.
yeah, like being a presenter, I came in, they welcomed me, we took pictures, like they had questions, I answered their questions. So you can definitely tell that it's a family and that they love coming to the workshop. Because I know the last one that you just did, um, with COVID and the CDC guidelines and everything, you kept sharing with them, you don't know when you're gonna have another one. And they was trying to give you all different types of resource information to have, and like,
Alternatives on what to do.
he
Yes.
was like, but it's getting cold, we can't have it outside. They like, well, we can wear our jackets.
Yeah. Yes, I really do love the group. Like you said, it's been evolving into something that really does look like family. They do, care about each other. It's very diverse. When like you said, different age range. We invite, um, the whole families. We want the children to be a part of it. We don't want it to be a separate thing. And ultimately, I always ask the group members as well, do anyone want to facilitate it? Like, I'm always looking for opportunities where I can move my way out of it and have one of them say, you know what, I want to, facilitate it. So it's always, just really trying to empower and not just put everything in one person, or because that's how things fall apart when you look into just one, and then something happens that one can't do it no more, and then it just kind of crumbles. And that's really um not what I want. I want for them to continue well after me. Or if somebody, I always tell them that if you want to get the information on how you can do this yourself in your own
Mhm.
church or your own centers, we can collaborate. So it's always really about trying to see what their strengths are and what they want to do and how they want to see it kind of flourish and grow, or how they can take that back to their own, different communities and make it, something special as well. And in that way, there won't be, what do I do when it comes to resources? Where do I turn? It can be like, we can get it from each other as opposed to, outside entities. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's my hope, for our group as
Yeah.
far as the future.
And I love that because that's like each one teach one. So I teach you, and then you go
Yes.
out in your community and you share that information with them, and then they share it with somebody else. So we're not just, that's that, that concept of us being alone. Now we're sharing the information so that it is getting out there.
Right.
So, but yeah, but I know definitely that you do an awesome job with them, and then providing them with, their basic needs. Can you just share some of the things that you provide for them when you have your parent workshops?
Yes. So basically, what also is very special about our group that I'm so proud of is that, like I mentioned earlier, that partnering up with organizations, within the community. They are they oftentimes, like I said, may not want to work directly with the parent as far as being in contact with them, but they do provide many different donations to our group, which helps to enhance and break down those barriers that we spoke about earlier that kind of keeps families from going out into the community, to learn new things and be a part of things. Because if they're concerned and worry about things, once again, about their basic needs, I don't have the proper clothes to put on my child because the season has changed and I want to go to this particular workshop to learn more about legal aid or things like that. But I really don't have the clothes to put on them or on myself, or, I don't have transportation or those different barriers. We break those things down by the organizations that we work with, which are so wonderful in Philadelphia County. I don't know if I can mention their names or not.
I mean, I'm fine with it.
But you say what?
I said I'm fine with it.
Yeah, so basically they help us out with seasonal clothing. We have a wonderful place in Philadelphia County that helps out with seasonal clothing from infant to 12 years old. So they partner with us and they basically provide that. We are working with an organization that provides items from Walmart, returns that people actually give back to Walmart. They actually donate them to the foundations, and the foundation will give those items to us. And these things are like, I'm talking about just like new, so it could be appliances and just, I mean, diapers for children. It's just so many things like that. And those are things that we provide for our families at the end of our workshops, to try to help, with them learning as well as getting the basic needs met at the moment, not so much, oh, well, you got to wait or you got to go stand in this long line. So we definitely have been blessed to have the opportunity to be able to combine those two things together just to make it even that much more special.
Yes, yes. And then, so have you had any families that you participated with in the parent workshop come back to you, like they became self-sufficient and then they came back to share their story of how you might have helped them change their lives?
Yeah, so I have to say that wow, I can't think of that in particular, a situation like that, but what I do see happening, transformation is definitely occurring because I see our families maybe at first could have more of a greater need when they first came, and then I start to begin to see that their lives are turn out for the better in many ways when it comes to not needing as much. So what they start doing right in front of you is basically giving to other people in the
Mm-hmm.
group. So you can definitely see, or saying, I have someone on my block or my neighbor that, they, are in need. I'm going to make sure I give, if it be, like, say, for example, a raffle or something like that, I'm going to make sure I turn this over and give it to someone else that I see that's having a need. So I see that kind of happening where they're not, they have definitely grown in a way where their situation is changing. I don't know if it's directly pertaining to the group changing their life per se, but I can definitely see there's something that's definitely happening where, the need is not as great, and they, you can tell that they're more like trying to give to each other,
Yeah.
so that's one of the things that is very transformational.
Awesome. 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 You are doing such a
Mm-hmm.
great work, and you're like humble with it. So that's what I love. I love that. I love it. I
Thank
definitely
you.
do. Is there anything that you want to share with our
Mm-hmm.
listeners, besides, your profession as a social worker, and your, is it, does your parent workshop have like a name, or is it just you guys pretty much just come together?
Okay, so we kind of came up with a name called the Community Resource Support Group. So that's our name. It's not, like it's unofficial in the sense that, we're not like, uh what you call it, how you do your name,
Like,
like it's not legally like ours.
uh-huh, uh-huh. I know, right?
So, but that's our name.
Okay.
Yeah, that's our name. And because like I said, we wanted to make sure that it encompasses the name, it encompasses, the community. So it's not like a woman's group. It's nothing like that. Whoever, we have men, women, children, everyone is invited, so it's welcoming to everyone. And the resource, basically, whatever the connection, whatever it is that, your knowledge, your skill, you present to, the group, and, you're just trying to help to empower each other. So in the support part, of course, we need each
Mm-hmm.
other. We can't take this journey of life alone, and, we need to lean on each other, learn from each other, and grow from each other. So I just think that's what I want to just share about, I just really, it's a special experience. I'm really blessed and honored to be the facilitator of the group. And, like you said, because of the pandemic, we had to cut down some of we only visit each other 2 times outdoors, for social distancing and safety. So it has been a little bit sad that we haven't been able to see each other as often, but I'm very hopeful for, the future. And I know things often have to change in life. So, I'm just really just can't wait to see what the new adventure and new stage going to be for us.
Awesome. So, how can people contact you if they need any additional resources for their family or friends? And I know we're in Philadelphia County, so if you know of anything, you want
Yes.
to share anything
So
with
we're
them.
yeah, so we're in Philadelphia, but yeah, so they can contact me through my email. My email is TUA01449 at temple.edu.
Awesome, awesome. So thank you so much for coming on. I know even though the
Thank you.
welcome. I know the pandemic may be slowing you down, but it's not slowing your progress and your brain down. I know you thinking of ways to get the group together in the future.
Yes. Yes.
So if
Yes.
I could think of anything,
And I want to share.
uh-huh, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to share what's so exciting. This last point, talking about, just how we all trying to help each other, is one of the group members even agreed to having us come to her house, as far as use her backyard.
Oh,
It's supposed to be really, like, open, and, she got tables, and so they really do want to keep it going. So we are, just gonna see how it turns out. But yes, that's what we like to see. That, means a lot to them,
exactly.
and mean a lot to me as
Yes,
well.
because I could see their faces
Yes.
when you was like, "Well, I don't know when we going." They was like, "Oh no, we gonna have a meeting." So that was nice. That was nice to her to open up her home or her backyard to
Try to
you
offer
guys.
her own home.
Yes, that
Yep,
was
her
nice.
backyard.
Yes, that was awesome. And like you were saying, then they take on you pass on that torch. So you never know, you passing it on, and she,
Hmm.
opening up her home now. That is amazing. Yeah,
Exactly. That's not.
yeah. So
Hmm.
she might be a little.
And she could be the next
Yeah, that's what I was
facilitator.
about to say. She about to be the next facilitator. Y'all can have two of them going on at the same time.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm so happy for you. I'm so glad that we met each other at that training, and that we were able to exchange phone numbers
Yes.
and be able to move forward and encourage each other.
Hmm.
And like I said, you're such a humble person, and you even have your family involved in the community resource support group, because your daughter was there helping you, and when I was with you guys a few weeks ago. So that's amazing that your
Yes.
family is taking
Hmm.
part as well, and your daughter was just as excited as you was, so it was awesome. It was, yes.
Yes. Yes. I'm very grateful for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was an
Hmm.
amazing, the 2 times that I have been with you guys, it's been an amazing experience. Everyone has been so welcoming. We exchanged phone numbers. We talked outside of the workshop, of anything that they may need on my, that I could help them with. So I definitely thank you for including me in the family.
Yes, Levon, we want to thank you so much because we really appreciate your story of your family and your son. And we really enjoyed your book. I mean, we just had a wonderful time with you the first time we met, as well as a couple of weeks ago. And the information you shared with us on, transitioning through all the different stages when it comes to special education and things like that. And so we just really love you as well and want to thank you so much today for letting me be a part of your podcast.
Oh, thank you so much. You're welcome. You're welcome. Anytime, feel free to say, "Hey, Levine, let me jump on the podcast and share again." You're always welcome to come back. We appreciate you and the Advocate for Me family. So we
Wonderful.
de- we definitely thank you for everything that you're doing in the community, whether it's through early intervention or through the parent workshop, the community resource support group. And we thank you for being a blessing to our families here in the Philadelphia County. So we
You're
want to
welcome.
thank you. We want to
Mhm.
encourage you to continue on even through the pandemic. Don't let it slow you down. Like I was sharing with you earlier when me and you were talking offline, was that because I would do presentations and workshops for families. And because of the pandemic, I felt like I needed to still be able to share this resource with the family, whether it was just talking to
Right.
someone or going on Facebook Live. And then Facebook Live sometimes was a little challenging for my schedule. So that's why I thought of the
Mhm.
podcast, to still get the word out, to our families, with the resource information, the education, and advocacy. So we again
Mhm.
appreciate you coming on tonight, and tell the family and everyone from the support group that I said hi. And I'll be praying for everyone to be safe and be
I
blessed.
will.
So thank you again for
Yes.
joining me.
Okay. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
you're welcome.
Okay.
So thank you to all our
All
listeners who
right.
came. Thank you to all our listeners who came to listen tonight. Um, so we definitely will. If anyone needs any resource information from Denise, please reach out to her again. Denise, can you share your email address one more time?
Yes, my email address is TUA01449 at temple.edu.
Amazing. Have an amazing day and enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend. And to our listeners, until next time, we'll see you again on the Advocate for Me podcast. Have a blessed one, everyone. All right. Five, four, three, two, one. And that's the end. So I'm gonna call you on your phone. Did you hear me?